Hello and welcome to my channel. As you can hear, I still have a lot of trouble with my voice, so I'm going to keep my talking to a minimum today. But I wanted to talk about the new palettes that were released by Huda Beauty recently. They're called the Brown Obsessions palettes, and I thought they were kind of similar to the palettes she released about a year ago, which were the Nude Obsessions. And I have the one in Nude Rich. And I wanted to compare it to the Caramel Brown. I think the Caramel Brown from the New Obsessions palettes is the most interesting one because it combines the best of the worlds of the nude palettes that were released last year, but that's just my opinion. I've seen in other videos that there isn't a one-on-one comparison between any of those palettes, but I did think that these color stories were kind of similar. They both have sort of the same depth, and even though this one has a little bit more orange in it, and the Nude Rich one has a little bit more pinky in it, there definitely are a lot of shades that seem sort of similar. So I was mainly wondering if the quality would be just as good, and from what I've heard, the Caramel palette isn't as good quality as the Nude palette, so I figured it would be a fun comparison to make. So I thought I'd show an eye look using the Caramel palette, and then we go into some comparisons. So this matte blends out beautifully, and it's actually a little bit more orange than it seems in the pan. It seems to be more of a brown, but I feel like it's an actual orange. I'm going to blend that out using the lightest shade in the palette. So far these mattes really are the same quality as the Nude Rich palette. I think that's a nice base. I'm going to make this into a halo eye. So now I'm going into the darkest shade, which is actually more of a satin, I think. But it's the darkest shade, so that's what I'm going to use. This actually doesn't look very metallic at all. I am getting some fallout with this shade. Now I'm going into the medium brown shade, and I'm just going to blend out this black shade a little bit. I kinda like how this works together. Alright, now we're going into the shimmer, and I think I'm going into this shade over here. No wait, I'm going into two. I'm first going into the darker shade over here, because this is the one I was most intrigued about. Oh, that's actually very nice. People were really complaining about the shimmers of this palette, but this one is very nice. Just blending the black and the orange a little bit. And now I'm going into the lighter orange shade over here. And I'm going to put that in the real center of the lid. This one is really glittery. I guess it doesn't have a lot of base color, but you can definitely see some nice sparkle with this one. I think this isn't bad at all. There was some mentioning on this being more, this working better on lighter skin tones. That's one of the reasons I wanted to give it a try, because I am very pale. And I feel like these shades work very well on me. They all show up beautifully. There is a lot of fallout, so I'm glad I started with my eyes. I'm going to clean this up. I'm going to do my base makeup and then we'll finish the eyes together. I'm back. I finished my base makeup. I used the Huda Beauty foundation, Clinique bronzer, Jeffree Star concealer, just because I'm trying to finish it up, and some brow gel from the Kruidvat. So now let's do the lower lash line. I really want to see how this bright orange is working out. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm just going to put this all the way I like that. And this orange is definitely more bright than the other orangey browns. I'm just cleaning up my brush and I'm going into the lightest shade and I'm going to blend this one out a little bit. And then I'm also blending that out with a blending brush that apparently was not completely clean. So that's lovely. I'm going to fix that later. For now, I'm going to go into this shade, the swirly shade. This is what it looks like, and I'm going to put that in the inner corner. So that's it for the eyeshadow. I'm going to see if I can fix this business over here. So I added my Catrice mascara, and this is the finished eye look. I think I can get a similar look with this one, but I have to say this one is definitely a lot more orange. So this brightness in the center and underneath my lower lash line, I don't think I could get that with this palette. And of course that's pretty obvious if you see them next to each other. But I felt like they would look sort of similar, but I guess they are quite different. As far as quality goes, I kind of like the shades I used in this one. This is the trickiest one because it's more of a cream, but it's what I have in my inner corner and I think it's actually quite pretty. I didn't try all the shades, but the ones that I did try worked very well, at least on my skin tone. So I wouldn't say this is a dot palette at all. I'd say this is a very pretty palette. And I really like this eye look. And that's it for my review of this palette, but let's finish the face together because I look like a ghost. I did apply bronzer, but I think we're definitely lacking some blush. I'm going into my Catrice Focus on the Good blush. This one is actually a little bit more orange when you put it on. At least that's how I remember it from the first impressions. Yes, I remembered correctly. This is actually quite an orangey peachy blush. I think it looks great with this eyeshadow. I just want to try one thing. I'm going to take a little bit of this finishing powder by Hourglass on my Real Techniques powder brush, and I'm just going to blend the edges around the inner corner a little bit. I thought they were looking just a little bit too stark. Yes, that's better. I find myself reaching for that finishing powder for these kind of things a lot. I usually use this one for the mirror, but I always use something in this palette. I don't really have an orange highlighter. I do have gold, and I do have this peach. And I think for today's look, I'm gonna go with the peachy one. I think that balances out with the eyes nicely. Now all we need is a lip, and of course it would be a lot of fun to go with a pumpkin spice liquid lipstick like this one from Too Faced, but I think that would make the look immediately more fall appropriate. And even though this palette has a lot of oranges, I still think it has sort of a summery vibe as well. So I'm going to opt for this Chanel lipstick in the shade 402 Adrienne, which is kind of a peachy nude. And I think this also matches great. It's just a little bit more subtle. Keeps the look as a whole just a little bit more spring and summer appropriate. So this is the finished look. I really like the look that came out of this palette, and I think it's, well, it's a similar vibe to the nude palette from last year, especially the Nude Rich, which is the one I own. But still, this is a whole new color story, so if you're interested in it, I'd recommend this one. I really want to try the other ones as well, but we'll see if that happens. So I'm going to save you from my voice, and I'm going to save my voice from myself, and I hope to see you in the next one. Bye!